With the aid of the sons of Saint Konak's Find and the Garland Ironworks, we have stumbled across a hidden path which leads down into the base of the Crystal Tower. There are many nooks and crannies to uncover, so the more help there is, the faster this will be. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner we can travel to where we are being called to, and the sooner we can wake our friends up. We take a ferry in the north of the Silver Tier and see our undoubtless allies scouring the area for any hint of a device. Biggs and Wedge are here to help instead of Sid, as he is busy working on something else. While searching through the debris, something catches our eye in the distance. It is a cog of some sort, and it is marked with the Garland Ironworks logo. Is this some kind of counterfeit? Our head starts to ring, the same as it did before. The voice echoes in our mind. Now I have you. Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates that we may pass. The last thing we hear before we are called is Tatari wishing us a safe journey and telling us to find our friends and bring them home.
The dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant! There's no freedom in that!
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you!
Same spirited accounts always comes around.
We did everything right! Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this!
Your time has not yet come.
From endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
We spot a peddler with his chocobo. He is surprised to see anyone out at this time of night. This time of night, it's as bright as day. It's just some old joke his granddad used to tell at the bar. The barman would always reply, "And when was the last time we had a dark night? Over 100 bloody years ago." This land has never seen the night of the day in over 100 years. He commends our expression. He almost believes as if we have never seen the day at night before. Then he ponders for a second, stating that they got to us, didn't they? He offers us some alcohol, but we decline. He shrugs and takes a sip. It's best he be off. He has roads to travel and wares to sell, and we should hurry along to the next town. Just keep heading east through the trees and aim for the shining tower. Go now, They will take good care of us in the Crystarium.
To dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew, between dark and light, the pure and the corrupt, the one true struggle.
As we approach the tower, there is a gate and a guard stops us. We are at the threshold of the Crystarium, and she will only let us enter if we answer her question. Where are we from? The source? What kind of nonsense are we speaking? If we have given her a true answer, then she wouldn't have stopped us, but because we lied, she would not let us enter. She draws her chakrams and sprints right towards us, or rather, right past us. She slays a beast that was prowling behind our backs. This one had recently eaten. It ate a hand ring and all. The ring lay still on the floor. As we glance at it, it looks familiar. Then, we remember we saw this ring on the peddler earlier. The sudden sound of footsteps interrupts our train of thought. This person asks if everything is alright, to which the guard replies that it was just a stray weak sin-eater. He looks towards us and smiles, stating that they have met his guest. He'll escort us personally to the Crystarium. He will answer all questions we have once we are somewhere more private. He brings us to the gate of the Crystarium, but he stops right before we enter. He apologizes for dropping us off in a random place. His aim was off, as he intended to have us arrive in his personal quarters. As for where we are in one of the 13 reflections of Source, specifically the first. Are the other Scions here? That is a question with no simple answer, but all will be explained. He learned how to bridge the gap between worlds so that he could call upon the aid of us, so that we may save this world, even though that means depriving the Source of their champion. In saving the first, you will save the Source. Let's not continue this conversation in the middle of the road. Come, the Crystarium awaits.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
A proper discussion in private seems in order, but first he would like us to get a grasp of the situation here. He would like us to visit the Crystarium civic leaders to learn about this world and its predicament. Once we are finished, we shall meet him in the courtyard at the center of town. First we speak to Cat Lise, and from her we learn about life in the Crystarium. The Exarch's magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence. Then refugees congregated underneath it, as the Exarch could cast magic to repel sin-eaters. Over time, buildings formed, and with the help of some relics brought forth from the tower, the place grew into the city we see before us. The people in this city work together to gather materials and resources to make life possible. If we are capable in crafting or gathering, we can help them keep the cogs of this city greased and turning. Next we speak to Moren, and from him we learn about a more detailed recount of the Flood of Light. 100 years ago, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. Upon its defeat, light poured into the world from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled until the day that an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across the star. This calamity was known as the Flood of Light. They leached the life and vigor of everything it touched, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet when all seemed lost, a savior appeared before them. The Oracle of Light stood between them and the approaching doom. With her power, she stopped the flood, and in doing so, Norvrand was spared. However, this tragedy did not end here. From the vast emptiness descended horrors who harassed the few folks who survived. These Sin Eaters were light incarnate, and using their presence, they stole the night from Norvrand's sky. Even now they hunt in the remaining bastions of civilization, ever hungering for our flesh. And finally we speak to Bragi, and from him we learn about the peoples of the First. The races that we are familiar with exist on the First, however their names are completely different. A Hyr is known as a Hume, an Elazin is known as an Elf, a Rogadin is known as a Galgent, the Aura are known as the Dran, and finally the Amalja are known as the Zun. And just for the sake of including every other race he doesn't mention, the Lalafels are known as Dwarves, the Hrothgar are known as the Ronso, the Viera are known as the Vis, the Mikote are known as the Mistil, the Kobolds are known as the Mord, and last but not least, the Sahagin are known as the Ondo. If we ever find ourselves confused by the local language or customs, we should speak to Bragi, and he will answer any and all questions we have. With our task done, we return to the Crystal Exarch. He confirms that the Crystal Tower is the same structure we knew from the source. Before he will speak to us about our comrades, he wants us to move into the Crystal Tower itself. Wait, into the Crystal Tower? Then it's open. Does that mean G'raha Tir is here? He does not know that name. Is there something he should know? We tell him about our endeavors in the Crystal Tower, and how our friend G'raha Tir ended up sealing himself inside of the tower. He has found no individual living within the tower itself when he took it into his possession. He did mention earlier that he did not know what era he had plucked the Crystal Tower from, so maybe it was prior to our endeavors, or after he let himself out. Either way, we should focus on the present. We move into the Ocular, which is his private study. Finally, we can learn about the fate of our fellow Scions. They are here in the First, however, time flows differently here. In the space of a single hour, an entire year may pass here, or the reverse could be true. Right now, we are entering a period of near equivalence, therefore, the passage of time is currently the same. As for our companions, Alphino and Alize have only been here for about a year. Y'shtola and Urianger have been here for about 3, yet Thancred has been here for 5. He had only intended to summon us, but he ended up summoning those whose fates were closely bound to our own. As they weren't the object of his summoning, he ended up summoning an incomplete version of them. They appeared to be corporeal, but they are only their spirits. As our summon was complete, we will be able to pass freely between the worlds here, but they are stranded in the First. What have they been doing all of this time? At first they searched high and low for a way to reverse the summoning, yet their efforts showed very little success, and eventually they abandoned it after Urianger shared with them a vision he had witnessed when he journeyed through the rift. Urianger could see the future. In this vision, he saw the First rejoined with the Source. The collision brought about the 8th Umbral Calamity, and the deaths of countless people. Among those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched us die. Thus did the Scions embrace their exile and began searching for a way to stop the calamity from happening. They are stranded in the First, but they have persevered, desperate to save their home, and us, from destruction. And their efforts have bore fruit. The elimination of Sin Eaters will prevent the calamity. Considering the circumstances of how we met, we probably don't believe his version of events, so instead we should seek out our allies and hear it from their mouths instead. He will be happy to assist us in finding them, and we need not make a decision in our involvement until we are certain of where we stand. In the meantime, he will not rest until he has found a way to send our comrades back home. Has he earned our trust, at least for the moment? For a moment, yes, but I'll see to it that you keep that promise. Excellent, we will not regret this. With this settled, it is time that we make ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has most likely left us weary, He will arrange a room for us so that we may rest in comfort. Whilst it is being prepared, he will show us around. He takes us to the markets, as he wants to make sure we know where to buy our wares for the adventure. Everything we could want and need could be purchased here. And luckily for us, the currency in the first is also gil. People used other currencies at one point, but then they returned to the old ways of coins being measured for their worth based on the metal they were created from. They found the name gil mentioned in the Crystal Tower, and they adopted that as their new currency going forward. He speaks a foreign tongue, to which a glowing light responds that they are here. It is a pixie named Feo Ul. We form a pact with her, and with her aid, we can move things between the realms. She can also pass a message from us to Tataru. The pixies are a race which usually hides from humanity, but Feo Ul is an abnormality. She is curious about everything and has taken a liking to the Crystarium, so she resides here. Eventually, we move to the pendants. This is where we can get a room for ourselves. Once we have rested and recuperated, we shall reconvene back at the Crystal Tower. We enter a small, cozy room. There isn't much to behold, but it is comforting. We walk to the window and open it, revealing a better view of the sky, which is stuck in permanent daytime. Gazing at it, all we can do is think about what kind of tragedies have occurred here on the first. A voice interrupts our thoughts. You. The voice is coming from a shadowy apparition, but the shadow slowly clears and reveals a familiar figure. I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source. This is the warrior of darkness. He is shocked to hear us respond. We actually heard him. How long has it been since he last had a conversation? Yes, he was called the Warrior of Darkness when he visited the Source, but his real name is Ardbert. He and his comrades were the ones who slew the Steward of Darkness, causing the Flood of Light. The Ascians gave them a path to salvation and guided them to the Source, but they were beaten and brought to an audience with Minfilia. She listened to their plea and returned their souls to the First. When they returned, the Flood was about to swallow Norvrand, but Minfilia, along with all of his friends, used what little power they had left to hold it back. They all faded away, leaving him all alone to bear witness to what occurred. He has lost track of time since then. How long has it been since the Flood? A century? 100 years. 100 long years. He walks over to the table and tries to grab a cup, but as he reaches for it, his hand phases through it. He cannot interact with anything. Nobody can see him, and his voice goes unheard. He is a shade that is cursed to do nothing but drift for eternity. He has been walking for so long that even his mind and body frayed, but suddenly his senses became sharp, and he found himself in this room. Why is it that we can see him? What are we even doing here in the first place? We have come to stop the Flood of Light, to save both of our worlds. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, so are those who try to save it. His mind may be muddled, but he remembers that clear as day. If fate has brought us together, then there may be a reason he has endured. If he can find out why he was left behind, then maybe he can bring this journey of his to an end. He'll be watching, Warrior of Light, but do him a favor. Be careful out here. This world has had their fill of heroes. And with that, Ardbert disappears from sight. We take some time to think about our conversation before heading to bed. We awake the next morning to meet in the place where the Crystal Exarch told us to the subject of the Scions. This is a map of Norvrand. At the center is the Crystarium, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Ilmeg. This is where Urian J is located. To the east lies Raktika. Your Stola is stationed here. However, you cannot reach these locations easily. Instead, we should meet with the twins, as they are in two locations that are easy to reach. Alphino is in a place known as Colusia, an island just off the western shore. It is home to the city of Yulmore. He has journeyed here to forge alliances with the citizens and is attempting to get into Yulmore itself. As for Alize, she is to the south. in the wastelands of Amareng. They are at the very edge of the inhabitable world. It was there where the flood of light was stopped. All who live there live in constant fear of being hunted by the Sin Eaters. She felt like she would be better spent learning about the Sin Eaters as she sells her services down there as a guard. It matters not which one we decide to choose first. As for Thancred, he is wandering around with his new companion. Together, they are hunting Sin Eaters. He is always on the move, so his location is very hard to pinpoint, but our paths will cross, eventually. We decide to head to Alphino first. We secure a ride on an Amaro. Yes, an Amaro, not a Chocobo, and are brought to the land of Colucia.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.